Hey, this is Pastor Curry, pastor of the Zion Fair Baptist Church, Wilmington's most exciting church, the church that love ya and anything you can do about it. Hey, today we have an amazing show. You may say he say that every week, but listen, I'm excited about the guest of today. We're getting ready to start off our Black History Month of shows, and we're going to start off in no better way other than to have the NAACP represented today. We're going to have Brother Linwood Jackson and Sister White, I call her Nurse White, who has certainly been a blessing in many of the projects that we've done here in Wilmington. And they're going to be with us today to share a little bit about the NAACP and what they're doing. And we're going to have a couple conversations on what has happened in and around the country so that you'll get a little taste of what it is to be a part of the NAACP. I happen to be a life member, and I hope that you will become active as well. Listen, call somebody real quickly. Tell them Coffee with Curry is on, and let's get after it. And we're back. Well, I told you we're going to have a wonderful show today. It is my privilege and honor to have with us today two of our favorite people. Nurse White, I've known her for the last few years. We worked on several projects together with IMAC, and Brother Linwood, who has certainly served in the NAACP in several roles. In the state, he served as chair, and then now he's serving as vice chair here in Wilmington. It's a joy. Welcome both of you to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Good, good. Listen, this month we are just starting out for our Black History, and we want to do a few things. And what better way, in my opinion, to start off our month with Coffee with Curry than to have the NAACP come in. You all have played, and I should say you all because I'm a life member as well, but we have played a very, very strong and significant role in all of the transformation as it relates to African Americans in this country. Tell me, a little bit about the NAACP for those who are watching.
Well, Dr. Curry, the NAACP was founded in 1909 by a diverse and broad range of civil rights activists of that time. Mm-hmm. And they got together to fight the issues going on in 1909, and before that, like the police brutality and excessive force, education issues, healthcare issues, and it just runs the gamut. W.E.B. Du Bois was one of the members then who founded, and the Wilmington branch, which Levada and I are a part of, is one of the biggest branches in our great but small state of Delaware. And we started in 1915 by a young lady by the name of Miss Alice Dunbar. And she was a teacher at Howard High School, which was the only high school at the time for African Americans. And so they got together because there was entities out there that wanted to bring some film here in Delaware. The KKK basically, and the film was Birth of a Nation. It was a racial movie, and they wanted to spew their hate in the community, and so Miss Dunbar got a couple of her friends together, and they protested that film here in the city of Wilmington, Delaware, and it's probably the first victory that we won here in Delaware, because they did succeed at stopping that film from being shown here, and that's how the Wilmington branch was founded, and the national NAACP was founded. And we've been fighting ever since then. And we're still fighting. Still fighting those same issues.
Especially after seeing what happened on January 6th in Washington. That was just unbelievable.
Terrorists are here. Domestic terrorism is here. It's been here since then. It's still here today. And that's why we're glad to be on your show to talk about that, share with the community and your listeners what's going on.
And since we're right there, let me, do you believe that, I tend to believe that the racism that exists here in America was inflamed as a result of 45th president. Or what are your thoughts on that? Let me just leave it open and just ask your thoughts on that.
Definitely, he instigated a lot of that, and I think one of the lawsuits that's one of the perpetrators are saying that he actually he participated because of President Trump telling them that they would have to storm the Capitol. Mm-hmm. I mean that's blatant.
Right.
Yeah, and if you look at the films, that's easy to see. The proof is right there. It just turn on the television, YouTube videos, and it's very well documented over the term of this 45th president term. It is very well documented. I mean, this is just right there for anybody to see. If you don't believe us, you don't believe what you're hearing, then look for yourself and educate yourself. It's just right there. The fact of the matter is that he incited this domestic terrorism to act, and I believe personally, if you ask my personal opinion, it is treason. Treason.
It is.
And you know, when you attack your own government, then there's no other word for it but treason.
Yeah, you know what was really shocking to me when I was reading, I think it was in the New York Times rather, that more than half of the individuals who were arrested, they went to check to see when the last time they voted, and they discovered that more than half of them didn't even vote for Trump. They needed an outlet to be able to act out and be who they are.
Yes.
Wow, that's
Absolutely.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it shocked me. I was like, what? So that means it wasn't about stop the steal. Mm-hmm. That was the cover. Mm-hmm. It was really about we were able to do what we need to do, and we've been given this license by this individual. But what I do give credit to the NAACP is that they never gave in. Y'all continue to fight. We continue to move forward, and that's very, very, very much important. You know, Nurse White, you don't mind me calling you Nurse White, because that's how I know you. You're a part of so much, and you just trying to make sure your voice is heard. What do you think are some of the disparities that you see with the African Americans as it relates to the health area?
Well, the bottom line is our social determinants of health, and that bottom line is about poverty.
Yeah.
Once we address the issues of poverty, then we could start to address the issues of health equity. Mm-hmm. Until we do that, until we make an attempt to bring everyone up to the level where they can earn a decent wage, if they're employed, if we can have decent housing.
Yeah.
And healthcare, access to healthcare is really key to all of it as well.
It's all connected.
But unless we have addressed the issues of poverty, we're gonna stay sick.
Yeah, yeah.
Mentally, spiritually, physically.
And physically, yeah.
And that's why it was important that President Barack Obama introduced the Affordable Health Care Act, if you remember. And then there was people out there that wanted to reverse that, to keep our people sick, and the ones who can't afford health care. It's just a crime when America, the richest country in the world, does not have affordable health care for all of its citizens, like Canada, Australia, all of Europe, Japan has national health care for their citizens, and here we are wanting to stop that. You know, so it's vitally important that we continue that march to get affordable health care in America for all of our citizens, so that we won't have those issues. We're dying for stuff that don't make any sense.
That's right.
Actually, that can be cured just like that. So affordable health care is another issue that the NAACP certainly is advocating for, and we encourage everyone else, the church community and all communities to continue that fight.
And I think that's also why it's so important that our churches, our faith community, and our houses of worship develop health ministries so that we can address the issues that are in our community, in our congregations, and in the community that the church is established in, to get people the right information, number one, and to help them navigate into the healthcare system. Because a lot of people that one of our problems is that we don't have enough people of color, black doctors, black nurses going into the field, where people that they're trying to address may not look like them, talk like them, and sometimes language is a barrier.
Right. Yes. Yes.
And you know, the church community has always been active in our communities. That's where everything started. The NAACP, many NAACP branches have meeting in the churches, and that's why we commend you and your church, Dr. Curry, for the work that you're doing in this community. I happen to be a product of Southbridge.
Oh, great!
As a matter of fact, and even back then, I'm not going to tell my age, but it's been a while, and the church has always been here serving the community. Without such, as Levada just said, we would not have any services. So again, we want to thank you for the work that you're doing. Just having this program and reaching out so that the viewers can get this knowledge and know how they can contribute and participate in the struggle. Because it is a struggle and a fight for equal rights and justice for all people. America is a fabric of all kinds of people woven together.
Tapestry.
And that's why it's important to have African American History Month, Black History Month, whatever you want to call it. It's all American history, but historically they wanted to stop us from learning about our history, because we know that if you don't know where you came from, we don't have a gauge to know where we are now, or where we're going into the future. So that's the importance of having a Black History Month, and the church is certainly doing its part. And I can't thank you enough. We can't thank you enough for the work.
I'm just glad that any little thing we can do, we want to always make sure we're committed. I often tell our congregation that when I was being raised in North Philadelphia, it saddened me, because we did have a lot of churches in our community, and the churches really didn't do what I thought they could have done. And I'm talking about our churches, because I'm fair. I'm not gonna bite the. I'm gonna tell the truth. And it was the white Catholic Church that did several things for us, and that troubled me my whole life. And I promised God that if ever He put me in a position where I can give back, it's going to be community centered. So most of what we do here, even though we are a congregation, we have to impact the community that we're in. We just finished at Wholeness Center, and I hope we get an opportunity at some point for y'all to come back and just do a tour of it. It's opening up to the public next week. We've finished everything. We try to give everybody the state of the art, because Black people can do for ourselves. And we are empowered. And I just want to make sure, and as we're talking today, the NAACP, I've been a life member. I'm not active in the local chapter, which as of today I'm going to make myself active, because I better get back in some of the local things that are going on. But I do believe sincerely that we have played a very significant role coming from a lot of places. One of the things that's troubling me, Nurse White, is this coronavirus. I mean, the vaccination. There are so many people, even in my congregation. And I mean, I'm one who preach faith. I'm one who preach, if God sends something, you have to trust it. And it mesmerizes me to how many of us are afraid to take this vaccination. Could you speak to that?
It's about the past history. We still have a long way to get over that. However, we have come a long way since those atrocities occurred, that now we have a Black female, Black sister at the head of NIH laboratories who helped with this coronavirus. And this virus isn't brand new. They've been working on the SARS virus for 6 to 10 years. The thing of it is that the money was funneled up front rather in the back end. They put it up front, and they were able to get the vaccine developed post haste. The Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines it is not in a experimental phase, because the Food and Drug Administration wouldn't have approved it for passing it on to the public at this time. So it's not about being experimented on and taking on the fear, because it doesn't exist. We have people of color, black men and women on the board of the Human Research Investigations,
Right.
the Human Review Board. So, you know, we have eyes on what's going on.
Absolutely.
Nothing's happening that we don't know about it, and don't have people directly involved with it. So that's one of the things about it. And if you experience a reaction, if you've taken the flu and had a reaction to it before, again, safeguards are put in place so that you can be taken care of, and going to your doctor on your regular visits.
Right.
You look for his advice
Right.
as to whether or not you're eligible for the vaccine.
Yeah, I'm told that next week will be the week when I'm in that phase 1B. The 65-year-olds just went,
Yes.
and then the educators go right after that.
Yes.
And I'm definitely going to go to
absolutely.
be vaccinated, because this is the sermon I kind of tried to preach to our congregation. When the leopards were at the base of the city, they had a conversation.
Yes.
And the conversation was simple. We can sit here and die,
Yes.
or we can go in the city, we
Yes.
might live.
Yes.
Sometimes you got to take a faith walk, a leap, or whatever, in order to be able to find out when you get there, God had already made the provisions for you.
That's right.
But you can stay here and die.
That's
and
right.
I just feel so bad, because there's legitimately some people feel, well, I don't say it's legitimately, but people have some true, strong feelings against it, because Trump's name was on it, and it was during Trump's presidency, and but listen, I agree with you. There are too many eyes, too many voices from our community that have been a part of this for it to really fail us. And all the people, even I had Bishop Morton on last week, and she said for her 84th birthday, that was her gift to
Yes.
get the shot.
Okay.
And I asked her, I said, how do you feel? I call her mom.
Yeah.
And she said, I feel great. She said, my arm was a little sore for about a couple hours, but other than that, didn't have any issues at all. I talked to several other people, and no one has had the issue that some of these Facebook people are trying to scare us.
Fake news.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Fake news.
That's exactly what it is.
You know, and it's scaring a lot of people. So don't believe the fake news. Investigate for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, medical technology has come so far. It just advances daily. You know, from way back when you mentioned the
Tuskegee.
the people that had the diseases
Yes.
100 years ago are unheard of now because of vaccinations, the flu and
polio,
chickenpox and
yeah.
polio. All of that is because of the advancement of medical technology. So we all know what's going on now. So I'm getting the shot as soon as it comes my way as well, Doc. And it's no joke. Save your life. Do what you have to do to survive, and listen to the experts.
Yes.
You know.
And that's what I always said, to remind folks, particularly our faith community. Jesus had a doctor with him. That was for a reason.
Right.
We got to trust the science.
Yes. That's interesting. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm there. I'm there with you.
You know, you got a guy talking about shooting up with bleach.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, I remember
That's
that.
fake news. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So why you want to listen to somebody like that? You know.
He's my president. Yeah. Well, listen, we're gonna talk a little bit about what the NAACP is doing now, and what are some of the things that y'all may be doing during the Black History Month on the national or the local level. But we're gonna do that when we come back. So we'll be right back. And we're back. Well, we've been enjoying the company of Nurse White, who, again, I love her, and we've just been friends for several years, worked on many projects with IMAC and also with Brother Linwood, who has certainly served in several roles. And it's a pleasure, again, a pleasure to have you with us today, doing the work that you do even for the NAACP currently. So tell me, what are some of the things that's going to happen during this month or in general with the NAACP?
right now we are encouraging and assisting individuals to, first of all, do the COVID testing.
Okay.
Last Friday we had 209 people at COVID testing at one of the churches.
Good.
And we're trying to encourage the churches to have some testing. We get the trailer there for your congregation and your surrounding community. And we're encouraging getting people transportation to the testing sites. And more importantly, providing information about the vaccine and where we could get it. Now, it just came out publicly on Channel 6 News again about the disparities in our community getting the vaccine, that some people know about it without it being advertised. How does that happen? How does that happen? So we're working on trying to find out who's behind closed doors.
Yeah.
And so we are still, again, trying to get people to be informed about the vaccine so that they don't have any fear of getting the vaccine, and communicating with their healthcare provider to see what options are best for them.
Okay.
So the health area is certainly paramount on the NAACP's list of items that we're working on. We're also working on a criminal justice reform and trying to get the police to carry, for an example, body-worn cameras. We're also working on the education system. In fact, a few months ago, in the year 2020, the NAACP Delaware State Conference sued the state of Delaware for their education disparities in our community. We identified like 10 schools throughout the state of Delaware, impoverished schools that weren't getting the resources that they needed to succeed in our education. So we fought the state of Delaware and won that case. So now the state is giving away, supporting and funding those impoverished schools so that they can have the resources that they need. Now it's interesting to me because in 1954, with then Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall and our very own Lewis Redding Jr. from Wilmington, a prominent civil rights attorney and activist, fought the Brown versus Board of Education. So here we are some 66 years later, still fighting for our education of our youngsters, so it's be fair. And so I know you want to talk about becoming a member, because we do need help, and I know you are a life member. We commend you for that. And you said you wanted to get active. Well, I'm a life member as well. I was not always active. I know you're very, very, very busy. A lot of you are busy, and you can't come to every meeting, but you can still be a member and get involved.
Right.
So we encourage you to go online. Levada said she had some applications in her car on her, but nowadays everybody can join. Just get on your phone or your computer and go to Wilmington NAACP.org, and the membership is right there. You can fill it out online before this program is over. Actually, okay? And
matter of fact, make sure we have that on. As a matter of fact, you'll see it on your screen now. Give it to us one more time.
That's the NAACP Delaware Wilmington branch. NAACP Wilmington branch, and you go on .org, NAACP Wilmington branch.org, and the website will come up, and you look on there and you see member and activist. You can become a committee member like Levada and myself. We are a lot of committees. We have actually 23 committees. Criminal justice reform, legal redress, health care, on and on and on, prison
Ministry,
committee.
youth.
And so
pull our youth in.
Our youth, our young people, you can join at real young and become a member of our youth committees as well. And so you don't have to be a life member. You can be a monthly member. Just become not a monthly member, but a yearly member, annual member, and help us out, because we need all the help that we can get. We are not here by chance. People fought and died and stood on the shoulders, and we stand on their shoulders to continue this march for equal rights and just for all. The NAACP is the largest and the oldest, the baddest and the boldest civil rights organization in this nation.
Yes.
And because of over 100 years, we've been doing it since 1909. So you're in the best place. We got plenty of help nationally, locally. We have a branch in your city. Here in Delaware, we have 7 branches up and down the state. You can find one and join one, and be a part of moving this movement forward. It's vital. It's vital. Levada talked about the healthcare. Right now, COVID is paramount. And it's vital that you protect yourself so you can live. Self-preservation is the first rule.
Yes.
Stay alive. Do what the experts are telling you. And you should be all right. The vaccine is here. It's just we don't have enough for 350 million people in America and more around the world that needs to be vaccinated before we can save humanity. And our folk are, as always, seem to be on the bottom rung. That's why we're in this fight to make sure that our communities get the vaccine, our communities get the resources that they need for education, our communities have police departments in there that's serving us as well and not killing us. And that's why we need your help as well. You know, it wasn't long ago when the police department, speaking of the police department, there was no women in charge. There were no minorities in charge. Right now in Delaware, most of the police departments are run by people of color.
Yes.
You see, so that's is proof that it's working. You see that we're moving in the right direction.
So we do need citizen involvement, but I want to reiterate about the membership that so many of my friends and colleagues have asked, how can I help? I don't have a lot of time, and I'm involved in this committee, this organization and that organization. And I encourage them, become a card-carrying member, because funding is necessary in order to do the things that we do. We need your help, and your input don't necessarily mean that you have to be physically present.
Right.
But if you become a card-carrying member, you are assisting us in a very significant way.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I said I'm going to definitely make sure I get a financial, because that's important. That's important. I mean, because, you know, there's power in the money. You know, you're able to do what you need to get done. And I think that's important.
What's the saying? Money talks, nobody walks.
That's right. Yes. It has been a joy. It has been a privilege. And I want to say to both of you that, and you know this for yourself, Nurse White, whatever you need me to do, I'm always going to be a voice. I'm unbossed. I'm unbought. I try to be effective. I'm not afraid of anything.
No fear, no favor.
At all. And I agree. So anything I can do to support you all, always know I'm here. I'm going to make sure financially I do what I'm supposed to do. I am trying to do several things with our church and this community, but it does not mean if we got a battle, we need some soldiers, I won't jump in and do what I need to do. I may not be able to go to all the committee meetings, but I will definitely always be available to be a part of the fight, because I'm a part. Fight is in me.
And when we fight, we win.
That's right. That's right. Is there anything else, Nurse, you would like to share?
I would just like to shout out that this February the 18th, we have a project going on through 5 different. It's University of Delaware Christiana Care, Nemours, University of Delaware, and Medical Center of South Carolina has been having a research with community engagement. So on the 18th of February, they're going to have someone from the University of Maryland as our keynote speaker, talking specifically about vaccine safety.
Okay.
So that, and one of the things that our objectives are is to get the community involved in the research process. If we have a problem in our community and we want to solve it, we can sit around and talk about it for years and years, nothing changes. But if we involve some research scientists to come and help us, we're leading the project, but we're just calling on the researchers, and they want very much to be engaged in our community. So this is a opportunity for the community, and it's going to be virtual.
Okay.
And of course, I will have it noted in my Put Prevention into Practice weekly bulletin announcements of when that's going to occur. It would be virtual, and everyone could join in, but we need people of color to get involved in the research process.
Okay.
So that's I'm throwing that out. You want to learn more about the vaccine safety, come and hear an expert.
Yeah, and we'll make sure we put it on the screen while that we want people to be able to attend that date, February 18th.
It's a community exchange, research exchange program through the Delaware Community Translational Research Excel.
Okay, understood. Anything else you have, my brother?
Oh, no, I'm good. I just, again, want to thank you for inviting us on and commending you for the great work that you're doing here at the church. And it's vital that your work is just vital for our community. So thank you again.
Well, let me thank you all, because you all are the pillars of this community and will always be respected by me. You all responded to our plea, our invitation, and I'm eternally grateful. That's why I say to you, to both of you, that whatever you need me to do to support you, I'm available. I'll move some stuff to make myself available to support in any way we can, because at the end of the day, we win when we stand up.
That's right. So very much appreciated.
God bless you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. And we're back. Listen, I told you we were going to have a great show today. It was a joy and a privilege having both Nurse White as well as Brother Linwood Jackson with us today from the NAACP. I would just want to say a word about Nurse White. She is everywhere trying to bring education to the African American community as it relates to our health. She understands the disparities that occur and how we are underrepresented in so many different ways. I was thrilled that she accepted our request for her to come and be with us, and I'm glad she was here. I hope you received some information from her, and I hope that you enjoyed having not only her, but also Brother Linwood Jackson as well, who served as the chair of the state at one season. Now he's the vice chair of the Wilmington branch. It's a joy having him, and he has always fought for the cause. So I hope you enjoyed the show today. And again, if you're interested, and I hope you are, in being a member of the NAACP, why don't you get online right now? You see it right there on your screen. Just, go ahead and become a member, because remember, money is power. And when you pay your dues, you give an opportunity for them to be able to do some of the things that they must do in order to represent us. There are many meetings that occur that you're not aware of where they're fighting for you. And I want to make sure that they are always supported. I promise God and the president of Lincoln University, when I was a student, I was a sophomore in college when I joined the NAACP, and I have always been active in it. And this is where a lot of my fight comes from, because I see the injustices that happens in our country, not only in our country, but even in our city. But what we have to do is we have to make sure those institutions that have worked very, very hard for us are always represented. So I hope again that you will go ahead and join the NAACP and be a part. Get active and watch God bless your life real good. Saints, I want to say to all of you, we're getting closer and closer to that time when we'll be able to return back to church. I hope that you will get that COVID vaccination. I will be taking the camera crew with me when I go. Once they call my name, my number, I'm going, and I'm going to get the shot. Listen, we walk by faith and not by sight. We got to trust God. God knows what he's doing. I hope that you will get the vaccination so that we won't have to do any more funerals. We all think that we're indispensable. We think that, hey, nothing's going to take me out. But I preached several funerals of people who were very, very strong, but COVID hit them, and it hit them in a way that they could not recover. I hope and trust that you will take that shot. So when your turn comes, especially if you're 65 years old, it is available to you now. Those of us who are in the education field, it'll be starting next week. They're going to start, allowing us to take the shot. And there are 2 doses, but let's just take the first one first. And I did have Dr. Morton, or shall I say Mom, on last week. She had her shot. She said only thing that it gave her a sore arm for maybe an hour or so, and that was it. And she was on the show about a week later, and she was looking good, feeling good, and everything was fine. So I hope you will take that shot. Finally, let me just say to those of you who've been saying, Pastor Curry, I've been enjoying the fellowship of the Coffee with Curry as well as the church. And you may say, well, I want to be a part of the East Zion Fair Church family. Look, I want to extend that opportunity to you at any point. You may say this is not a church service. It is a church service, because at the end of the day, we represent the kingdom of God. If you're interested in being a member of the East Zion Fair Baptist Church, all you got to do is send me an email at communications@eZionFairChurch.org. Again, that's communications@eZionFairChurch.org. Communications with the S. Make sure, because I didn't pronounce it that way right the first time. But I want you to send me an email, and we will make sure we get in touch with you and give you all the important information that you may be a full-fledged member. We do not vote on our members. What we do is we thank God that you want to be a part of this branch of Zion. And for those of you who missed church last week, look at what you missed.
Over the last few weeks, we've been in this series entitled Transforming Terms for Tough Times. And what our whole focus have been is to give you a word that will help you as we are growing stronger in our faith in Jesus Christ. The first week we dealt with backbone. At some point we have to stand up and have a backbone that I'm not going to compromise anymore. Last week we talked about no. The answer is no. If what you want me to do is going to compromise who I am in God, the answer is no. Why, Pastor? Why, Pastor? It feels good to me. Why, Pastor? It looks good to me. Why, Pastor? Because God has been faithful. God has been real, and I'm not going to say yes to something and he's saying no to. Today, join me in the book of Revelations, chapter 21, verse 5. And for those of you who are watching us by social media, those of you in the sanctuary, I beg you to come back next week. We're going to finish this sermon next week. But because God gave me 2 words, but I said, since I'm doing 1 word, I'm going to break it up for you. But go with me to the book of Revelations, chapter 21, verse 5. Listen to what the word of the Lord. Then he who is seated upon the throne said, see, I am making all things new. And he added, write this down, for my words are true and can be trusted. Then he who is seated upon the throne said, see, I am making all things new. And he added, write this down, put it in your memory bank, hold on to it. Even if right now everything is perfect in your life, write it down and hold on to it. Why? Because my words are true and you can trust me. Today, just for a few moments, I want to give you the word hope. Come on, somebody say hope. Say hope again. Although, Brother Chairman, humanity presents a very different prognosis. Humanity puts on a special face. Humanity makes us believe that everything is well and peachy. Here's the truth of our diagnosis. We're physically, spiritually, and mentally terminal. We're right at the point of death. If you just look around you and things that would not have made sense 20 years ago now is a part of the norm. We're living in a time where it just appears that life is falling apart. We're terminal. Take any of our psychological or emotional vital signs and you will very quickly observe that we are literally about to break and in need of divine intervention. We've tried drugs, didn't work for us. We've tried sex, didn't work for us. We tried job after job, didn't work for us. We tried friends, didn't work for us. Saints of God, we're fatal. We're fatal and at the break of falling apart. In the last 20 years, the rate of antidepressant use has morphed out of control. According to the recent data in the CDC, antidepressants have become the third most common prescription that is given out by doctors. Depending on what country that you are looking at, suicide is either first or second. I didn't say just America, but whatever country you look at, it's either first or second as the leading cause of death among our young people. In 2012, America lost more soldiers to suicide than we did to combat in the Afghanistan war. Can I tell you why? Because we are suffering from a crisis of hope. Somebody say hope. We are suffering from a hope, for a hope that we are just in desperate need to get. We have no hope because what people have sold us did not last. What people have told us did not come to reality. We need hope. Somebody say hope. It says something about humanity. Think about it. When each year millions of children are trafficked in the sex trade. It says something about humanity when pornography and prostitution is billion-dollar industries. It says something about humanity when 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will be sexually abused by someone before they come to adulthood. Saints, where are we today? What is happening in our world? There was once a time when we had dignity and certain things we wouldn't touch. Saints, we need hope. Somebody say hope. This is the issue. The issue is we are in a crisis of hope. We're in a deficit. We have a deficit of hope in our lives. We want to come to church and we want to sing. We want to come to church and we want to be placed in a place that is glorious. But here's the truth. We need hope. We need hope beyond what we've been seeing. We need hope. Do I have a witness? And by hope, I don't mean mere wishful thinking. There was a great author whom I certainly respect highly by the name of Rabbi Jonathan Sacks. When he wrote his book is entitled Celebrating Life. And in there, around the 4th chapter, he talks about it takes no courage to be an optimist. That's why we have so many people who write books of getting your psyche strong for the moment. But it takes no real courage to be an optimist, but it takes a great deal of courage to have hope. Somebody say hope. Because it's not about positive or wishful thinking, but it's about a confidence. Somebody say a confidence. It's about a confident expectation that something good is coming our way. Hope is not pie later. Hope is saying, I know my change is coming. Hope is saying in the midst of hurt, in the midst of pain, in the midst of being understood, things will get better. That's what hope is. Not looking and saying, oh, it's good, it's good, it's good, it's good when everything is bad. But hope says, I know where I am. I'm in trouble. I know what's going on. Hell is all around me. But I believe that any old day now, God is going to come through. Do I have a witness in here today? We need a hope. We need a hope. We need a hope that is rock solid with expectation that we can build our lives on. We need hope that will tell us that you will make it even when all the odds are against us. We need hope. When life issues you hurt, you need hope. I know in this day of doom, devastation, and destruction, being a true believer is difficult because the truth of the matter is we've sold hope cheaply. If you listen to some of the preachers across the country, they'll tell you hope is on the way. Hope is good. All you got to do is change your thinking. But saints, it's a little bit more than just thinking. You got to know that you know that you know that you know that God is going to come to your rescue. Do I have anybody here who, when it didn't make sense to believe God, you decided we're going to do it anyhow? And when you did it, God came through and blessed your life. Do I have a witness in here today? Jesus is our hope. Don't get it twisted. He is our hope of glory. He's our hope that we can hold on to when nothing else goes right. Because listen to me, the fundamental foundation of who we are as believers in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is rooted in who Jesus really is. I can't see him, but I know he's there. Just this week I was having a conversation with my wife and daughter, and I was trying to stretch my daughter a little bit. And I said to my daughter, prove to me that God is real. Daddy, you know he's real. You get up and preach about him every Sunday. Daddy, I know that God is, prove to me that God, because when you live in this Christian walk, there's not evidence that you can hand somebody else that God is real, but there is something internally that you can know that you know that you know. Oh, I wish I had help in the church today. And that's where I am today. I want you to move past that hope that is frail, that hope that make you believe that everything is going to be all right as long as you have wishful thinking. But the truth of the matter is God is calling for us to have an unbreakable, an unstoppable, and an unquenchable hope. Yet for real, too many and too often and too frequently, we get presented as people of God this fake sense of hope. Talk to me, Pastor. We get this fake sense of hope. We get preachers who stand behind the sacred desk and they tell you, oh, you'll get it later on. Just hold on and trust the Lord. And listen to me, I don't want anybody in this room to not believe that you need to trust the Lord and you will get it later. But every answer is not what we've been presented. Prevaricating preachers who will lessen this gospel causes things to happen and people to walk away from God. All too often we find preachers who sell the true hope of Jesus Christ as something that's going to happen when you die. But I came to tell you today, what God has for your life is not something for later, it's for now. Can I get a witness in here today? We hear these pale promises of pie in the sky, by and by once we die, and not something sound on the ground while we still around. We hear it, but listen to me, in the face of hurt from the deaths that we experience, in the face of emotional and psychological pain that we go through, in the midst of indignities that we suffer from racism, in the midst of desperation that we experience because of being disenfranchised, all too often leaders within the Christian faith have only communicated the same old weak and feeble response of Miss Seeley in The Color Purple. What did she say? This life soon be over, but heaven gonna last always. But I want to say to somebody today that yes, this life is going to be over, but here's the truth. You don't have to wait till you die for God to bless your life. Oh, I wished I had help right there. Because it's not about by and by when the morning comes. It's about right now down how God is still a deliverer, God is still a healer, and God is still a keeper. Do I have anybody in here today who know what I'm talking about? Because the truth of the matter is, we all are in search for some answers. We're in search for some answers. The Apostle Paul says in Romans 8, he says, we all ache for redemption and our heart cry for restoration. In the face of our struggles, here's the good news. Jesus came to restore and redeem us. Jesus came to build us a life, and a life more abundantly. Despite of what we may have been taught or told, Jesus' focus wasn't on a gospel of a great by and by in the sky. No, no, no. If you read when Jesus spoke, he spoke like, I've come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. There are people who got stuck in God gonna take us to heaven, but they forgot we got to live while we are on this earth. Pastor, are you fussing today? No, I'm not fussing, but what I want to make sure you get is that yes, heaven is real, but I need some relief while I'm on earth. Do I have a witness in here today? And listen, despite of what we've been told and talked about, here's what Jesus says in Matthew 19 and 28. Jesus says, truly I tell you, at the renewing of all things, when the Son of Man sits on the glorious throne, everyone who has left houses and land, brothers or sisters, fathers or mothers, for my sake will receive 100 times as much. But I like the very next sentence. It says, in this life. We are waiting till we die to get our pie in the sky, but God says, I got something sound for you on the ground right now. Do I have a witness in here? That this day that Jesus taught in the text, he was basically saying that there will be a great day of restoration. There will be a moment that the people who have harmed you, the people who have done you wrong, gonna see that it is better that a millstone be tied about their neck and they cast into the depths of the sea than to have hurt you. You may think, oh, I just can't wait until I die so I can get rid of my pain, my trouble, and my sorrow. But I got good news for you today. You ain't got to die. All you got to trust, because God said deliverance is coming while you are alive. Do I have a witness in here? That's truly, Brother Sherman, that's truly the teaching of the text for today. The text says, behold, I am making all things new. Somebody say new. God is and shall make things new. I'm going to stay there for a moment, because this intrigues me. How we envision our future shape how we live our present life. If you believe that God, or any day now, God is going to bring restoration, it changes your ability to want to give up, and it will make you hold on. Do I have a witness? If you go out to the hospital, I said this at the 8 o'clock, and you talk to people who are terminally ill, one of the things the doctor says is that if the person who is terminally ill would just keep in their spirit, I'm gonna make it. Y'all remember the choo-choo train? Do y'all remember that? Or y'all too young or too old? I don't know. You know, the choo-choo, they all doubted the choo-choo train. They said it's too weak, it's too feeble, it cannot make it. And the choo-choo said, I believe I can, I believe I can. And then he's changed his believe I can to I think I can. Because when you start going up the road and find out that, you know what, living with God is pretty good, and you say, I think I can, I think I can. And when he gets to the top of the mountain, he said, I know I could, because 90% of your success is believing that God is on your side. 90% of your success is knowing that God is going to look after you. 90% of your success in whatever you, and let me tell you something about sickness. Sickness can't kill you if you believe that God is a healer. Can I help you, somebody? People say she died of cancer. Cancer can't take nobody away. She may have succumbed to it, but here's the truth. When God say no, the answer is no. I don't care what the doctors say. I don't care what the lawyers say. If God says, I got some cancer survivors in here, and they'll tell you the doctor doctor said 2 more years and you gonna be gone. It's been 10, 20, 30 years later and they still holding on, because when you have your hope in Jesus, God is calling. I'm purposely taking my time now. God is calling for people who can have hope. Not superficial hope. Not positive thinking hope. Because what I'm going through is hell. I need to know, I need to believe, I need to have an assurance that God is going to get me out of this. Oh, I wish I had somebody who with me today. Have you ever been in a moment in your life where you tried everything possible? The doctor, the lawyer, you even came to your pastor, and none of them helped you. But it's when you took time to talk to Jesus that things turned in your favor. Do I have a witness in here? God is saying, I want you to anchor your hope in me. I want you to anchor your hope in me. And I want your hope to be so strong and solid that it will be unstoppable, that it will be unbreakable. Let them say what they want to say, but I want you to trust me as never before, because it's not about wishful thinking. It's about an assurance of what God is and what God can do. Do I have a witness? An assurance that trouble won't last always. Hold it a minute. I've heard that so much in church. Pastor, I heard that and I'm trying to put your message together. Yeah, but let me tell you a secret. Look back over your life and every trouble that you had. Didn't God see you through it? Oh, I ain't got no help in here. And the mere fact that God saw you through it, it means this scripture is right, that trouble won't last always. And I don't know who I'm talking to today, but if you hold on to who God is, I don't care what you go through, God will make it right in your life. Do I have anybody in here to testify today? Our search for hope has become desperate. The hatred and rage that pepper our society is out of control. You saw just a week or so ago the insurrectionists in Washington walking through the Capitol. Now, many people are not as smart as some of the African Americans I know. It took a black man to say they weren't walking through the halls of Congress with a Confederate flag. See, those of you who know history know the difference between a Confederate flag and a KKK flag. The anchor says to the congressman, "What do you mean? There it is." He said, "No, notice that flag don't have no stars, which means it's a racist KKK flag." And they walk through the halls of Congress to say, "We taking over." But let me tell you, while I was driving in my car and they were taking over, I remember the scripture said, "If my people who are called by my name would humble themselves and pray, seek my face, turn from their wicked ways," he said, I'll hear from heaven. I'll forgive their sins and I'll heal their land. Let them do what they want to do. I kept my hope in Jesus. They can take over the Capitol, but they can't take over who Jesus. We're desperate. We're desperate. We don't have enough love in our hearts the way we used to. And it is being displayed everywhere we go. And I can talk about racism, I can talk about sexism, I can talk about all kind of isms. But God is saying it's time for us to recognize that we got to stop having hope in people and start having hope in him. If everybody mess up, my hope will be in Jesus. If everything goes wrong, my hope will be in Jesus.